All right, you guys, it's a beautiful day out, beautiful Friday. We're in the truck now. We're on our way to Montreal. Gonna pick up that engine and get working on our B20 turbo build. All right, guys, we're just on the side of the road here checking our load after leaving Montreal, but say hello to our B20. It is the low compression, has the high intake manifold, no knock sensor, which is indicators of it being a low compression engine. But with these cars, JDM engines, you can never be guaranteed. I've heard like they don't care about the specs. Sometimes they have high comp pistons, but even the high comp is like 9.6 to 1. This one should be about 8.8 to 1 if it is low comp. We're gonna get this home, we're gonna put it in, we're gonna swap over all the good stuff that we can use onto it, and yeah, it's gonna be pretty freaking sweet. So block looks pretty clean for what it is. All right, so since we already made an entire video on all of this, I didn't want to show it to you, but there we go. Got the engine out, took a couple hours, but yeah, not too bad. Luckily I didn't have everything installed when this was in, so yeah, that wasn't too hard of a process to take out, and having like the upgraded pin there and stuff made it a lot easier. I'm feeling high. Finished our trip in the old Dodge, did well. Already jumping right into taking this all apart, taking off things we don't need here, intake manifolds, accessories. Got our old engine here. I'm gonna swap most of this onto that. Gonna put all our timing, that all fits. Our clutch and the flywheel, that all fits. All our AN lines, all our filters, blah blah blah. This, we're either going to use this intake manifold and modify it to work, or get a high compression intake manifold and move some stuff over. That's nice and easy to do. But yeah, that's all we're doing, jumping into this, moving everything over. This will take not too long, a couple hours work, and then once that's all slapped together, I'll be able to put the main things we have to move over, like the oil pan and the intake manifold. Those are the things that, depending on how that goes, it's going to take us extra time, but won't be too bad, and then we can throw it back in the car. All right, guys, so here we are after 1 day's worth of work. We did quite a lot on the old B20 there. We picked up, took off both our manifolds, we swapped over our alternator and brackets and the water neck, T-bracket, all those things that need to be done because it's from Japan, and you know, certain things don't work on others. And next thing up to do is going to be removing all the timing stuff, the oil pan, moving that over, moving our feed line, all these things here that we want to keep. And on this engine, after that, we just need to figure out our intake manifold situation, whether we're going to modify the B16 one to fit or get a high compression CRV intake manifold. But once that's done, we throw the trans on, we throw this in the car. I predict by the end of next week, hopefully, this isn't too much work, maybe a day or two of stuff to do. And we'll be going again here soon. So a little setback, but this is going to be awesome. B20's cool, more torque. It's going to sound different. It's going to be really unique. And I'm excited. Hopefully we'll get this going as quickly as possible so I can actually drive this fucking car. Just wanted to show you guys here inside the motor here. Just took the valve cover off. Look at that. Oh my God. I know getting engines from JDM importers can be sort of a gamble sometimes. And even if they're low mileage, you never know, but just inside here is friggin' mint. So good. So good. Oh my God.
When you speak, angel, sing from above. Everyday word seems turning into love song.
Alright guys, so just spent the day on this. Did quite a lot. It was kind of a pain in the ass timing it, so you know, that took a little longer than expected, but not behind schedule by any means, I wouldn't say. So you can see here, we put the front cover with our new rear main seal on from this engine. These covers are the exact same, so boom, quick swap. Put the oil pan on there because all the oil pans for B series are the same except for the GSR and maybe the Type R. Don't quote me on that, but I know that the GSR has an extra baffle. Anyway, this fits from B16 to B20. We put on the, okay, I was able to put the oil pump on because those are the same. I wanted to use the water pump, but they have a different amount of teeth, so I can't do that, but this one is in good shape. So we kept that on there. Same with the timing belts. I guess they're one tooth difference, but this one doesn't have any cracks. It's not too bad. It's got, you know, the little bit of the wear up here, but it's gonna be okay. This will definitely last a couple of years, and by then we should have this. We'll replace it later. You know what I'm saying? I want to get this running, and it'd be like a week wait if I wanted to get one of those. So didn't do that, but this is good. That's working. Oil pump's on. We have put our bracket over from the other car because even though this looks pretty similar to the CRV bracket, the CRV bracket is much taller, so that will not work. You have to use the SIR bracket, which we did. What else? As well, you can see we have the engine perfectly timed. Here's our top dead center mark here, pointing at top dead center. Up here, just want y'all to confirm with me here. These are pointing at each other. There's a little line, there it is. The line that represents the top of the block, because you can't really see it with this cover on, but yeah. These are up, up, pointing at each other, pointed good. Tension is fine where it's supposed to be. That's the normal tension. It seems looser than I would personally think, but that is how it's supposed to be. So now that this is all back on here, we can go ahead, run our accessory drive belts. We're gonna put the cover back on, put this on, and what the heck is next? All right. So I didn't get to go today because I spent more time on this than I wanted, but we're gonna get an intake manifold and an ECU tomorrow. And you'll probably see that in like 30 seconds. I imagine I'm gonna make it all about the exact same video. Just a couple other things here, AN lines, the feed line for the oil, and that's pretty much everything moved over. We are moving fast on this. I want to get this engine in within the next few days. So. How's it going, guys? All right. I've been making so many little videos here. I'm not even sure if this will be the start of a video or not. If it is, cool. So we just got back from the scrapyard. I was going to be getting an intake manifold from the high compression B20s, the one that sits lower and has the box on it. There was only 2 of them there. I tried to get the best looking one, and it's still bolt stripped. Pain in the ass. So what we're going to wind up doing is using this manifold. It is very possible they all bolt up about the same. The only difference is at the end here where these water ports are. they're not the same, so we have to cut that part of the flange off. And then we got a barb fitting here to attach to our hose, and then we just have to plug this port there. And it's really not, it's not too hard unless you've never done anything custom before. If you've never really worked on cars, it could seem intimidating, but here, I'll probably show you, try and record some of it if it's time lapse or whatnot over how to do that. And we'll have our yeah, so we're gonna get started on making that manifold fit. We're gonna have our intake manifold gasket and exhaust gaskets tomorrow, and by the end of today, I'm hoping to have the transmission on our B20 manifold ready and all the other accessories transferred over so that it's basically ready to drop in Thursday. I gotta go do stuff tomorrow night, so it's gonna be Thursday that we get this engine in. We'll get the barb fittings and stuff like that. Just have to hammer it into the block pretty much, and it'll be ready, good to go. We picked up ECU. Wow. Here's something interesting for you. So I was just checking my manifold to the block because on my B16, in order to keep power steering, I had to grind this off a little bit. And I was looking at it, I was like, surely this one's bigger. It's gonna need to be totally chopped. I just fitted this, and by just removing this bolt, it actually fits very well. But now the other thing I've noticed is on the B20 block, there's these little nubs here that are not on the B16. So these stop me from fitting my manifold perfectly flush. So I'm gonna have to go and take the grinder now, grind these down very fucking, excuse me. Grind these down very carefully so they don't go too far, but just enough to make it flush with the block, and then it should fit perfectly. Hell yeah. Freehanding, let's see how. Boom. That one's good. That one, I think it's good as well. Look at that. Need to grind that nub down, and now it fits perfectly. Okay, so you want to put your B16A2 intake manifold on your B20. I took off our manifold here, and on the back of the block here, what you got to do is remove this stud here because it doesn't line up. All of the rest of them do fit normally, and the only ones that don't is this very end here. These two bolts will not go in, and you're gonna have to cut your flange here on your B16 manifold so that you can run a barbed line here and plug this. So you also have to, normally on the intake manifold side, this is where you would have another stud to run through. So since this is a plug on this one, you can either decide to take this out, or you can drill out on the B16 manifold, step it out a little bit bigger so that that fits. So coming over to the manifold here, that's this one right here. And the reason you remove that other stud is because it lines up to about here, and then you make a hole here, or just widen this hole up a little so it can go over that Allen head. And I've marked here where I don't want to cut into this plenum at all, and we're just gonna roughly chop this off and then throw it on and take away little by little until we have this exactly where we need it to fit. All right, so we just did the cutting on the manifold, so you can see here, I'll show you the top stud, why you had to widen that. These don't really line up, so I mean, you could probably pull this out and put a stud through if you wanted, but it's not necessary. Just need to make it so that that clears, so that this sits flush. And then down here, this is what we had to cut off. So you can see now, this all fits flush and good. Obviously these two don't line up, but you don't need it. You're gonna have 3 bolts on top. Other people have done this. I'm not the first one doing this. It's been done before and it works fine. So now that you have those holes exposed, you just need a brass fitting here so you can run coolant from there back to your thermostat piping. And then this here just needs to get plugged off with whatever. Find a bolt, fill it with JB Weld, whatever you want to do. Plug that hole there and then you're good to go. I'm going to have my gaskets in tomorrow. We're going to be using the B20 intake manifold gasket. I do have a spare B16 one, but I don't know. The forum I said saw to use the B20 one, so we're going to do that. Well, guys, we're done today in the garage. Here's what we got set up here. We took our old engine off the stand, threw it in the corner. Pretty much everything we're going to use has been moved over to here. We got our transmission on with our new flywheel, clutch, throw-out bearing, all that good stuff. I put on the AN line here. We got our oil feed coming nice and over, ready to go. I will be getting my intake manifold gasket tomorrow, and I will go and get the fittings I need for here. And once that is on and good, this engine is going to be in the car. All right, so I'm just gonna show you here. I was able to put our brass fitting in. We used some JB steel weld, quick epoxy stuff. I've had good luck with that for things that don't require too much pressure. So this should hold. If not, I can always zap it with a weld there. And then our EGR port, I used our tap and die set. We used one of these bad boys, and I found a matching bolt that would fit in there and put some thread sealant on it, screwed it in nice and tight. So that's blocked off now, so you won't have any exhaust leaks there. So I'm just gonna maybe clean up a little bit of the gasket that's left on this and put our gasket on, put our manifold on, and then we're getting ready to put this engine in. All right, everybody, this is it. We're about to put it in. I moved my studs onto this bracket from that one. The intake's on, everything's good to go. I had to rethread this bolt hole here. That's all good now. We sprayed the engine bay, all the important bits, with our rust protection, rust proofing. Nice and good to go. And just have to put the little, I don't know if I can show you under here, there's a little plate that blocks that. So I'm gonna lift this up, put that on, and then we're moving this thing into the car, into the engine. Buck. Yeah, let's do it. Alright guys, the engine is now in, fully attached. Now we just have to add our manifold, downpipe, all that good stuff. We're gonna set the valve lash in here before we fully seal it. Maybe move the gasket over from this engine and start her up. Alright everybody, so engine's in the car. I just spent the last few hours grinding, getting everything done. Everything is put back to what we need in order to start it. Coolants and oils in. I just cranked it over, made sure we had good oil pressure. So we're gonna try first start here. The only thing I'm mildly worried about is my downpipe here where it clears under the oil pan. It's very, very close. Can't really see that, but with the extra deck height of this motor, it's kind of pulled it up a little bit because I made it custom to be pretty snug under the B16, and now it is like pretty much touching it. So I'm worried that as soon as I start it, it's going to make a horrifying rattling noise, which, you know, it's gonna maybe sound like raw knock, but it's not. It's gonna be that. So if that happens, that's what that noise is. And we're gonna give this a first start here. Looks like it's running pretty rich. And I have a bit of a feeling that that sound we're hearing, see, we just got some old shit burning off here. I'm not too concerned about what that is. I think it's just oil that was in the exhaust from the bad engine. But yeah, I think that noise might be at low idle RPMs that our downpipe is rattling our oil pan. But otherwise, it doesn't sound too bad. The smoke is coming. Yeah, it's coming out of our wastegate dump, which is odd at idle, but I think it's just burning off oil that was in the manifold. So we heat.
When you ask me to bring that guacamole to the party, I'll say no, no. If you ask me bring the guacamole to the party, I'll say no, no, no. That shit's too expensive.